Let's see here. How do we get this ridiculous YouTube? Oh, there it goes. Okay. Cheers. Drinking some bourbon. Larceny. This is what it is. Hopefully it's coming through straight on your end instead of reversed. I just finished, so I need to head to the liquor store. Actually, I'm tapped out on quite a bit of stuff, including tequila. But cheers. Is anyone drinking anything? Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that's good. About to get lit. I'm pretty sure that Muffin is going to come in. I closed this door right here, but there's another way to get into my office, and I'm pretty sure that she'll make her way in here. It never fails. Anytime I'm talking, anytime I'm recording a video or anything like that, if I don't shut both doors, Muffin is coming in and she's hopping on the table. So, where's everyone coming from? Where's everyone at this evening, this morning, depending on where you're living? Put it in the comments and I'll go ahead and get started. So, Virginia, I think I'm getting a Roadster. Tesla reached out to me earlier this week, and Denver, what's up? Tesla reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to take advantage of my Roadster discount because of you all who've used my referral code over the last however many years. That has added up to a 52% discount, which is cool, super cool. And originally I was thinking, no, this is just too exotic, too I don't like to spend a whole lot of money on stuff. I try not to spend a lot of money on things that depreciate. Now, maybe with this Roadster, it will appreciate. I may even be able to make some money off of it by flipping it. But at a 52% discount, I'm probably looking at, I don't know, $120,000. It's a lot of money, and it's money that I could be putting into real estate. It's money that I could keep in the bank and save for a rainy day. But ever since that email came through, I've been daydreaming a lot about this car. And I think it was on Monday actually that I got the email, and then posted it on Twitter and said that typically I'm not the type of person to put money into vehicles because I think it's a bad way to spend money. Yeah, exactly. Imagine if I put $120,000 into Tesla stock. I'd probably be able to double my money pretty quickly. But it's on the reverse side, it's not a physical stock is not a physical asset. If I wanted to pull out at any point, obviously I could. So if I'm driving a vehicle anyway to get around town for business in particular, I'm going to need a set of wheels. Do I need a Roadster for my set of wheels? No, that's why it's completely an emotional decision. But there is some business justification. I can business expense this vehicle, deduct the depreciation, and get the Roadster coming from a fiscally conservative. Yeah, right. It's so nuts. Like every time I go through the mental gymnastics of, no, I don't need this, but I want it. Hey, Michael. It will make me happy. I'll also be able to use it for business purposes, driving to meetings, driving around town, doing showings and stuff like that. And then there's also the YouTube content side of things as well, which very likely will pay for itself, to be quite honest. There's going to be, I don't know, 1,000 people, whatever, however many vehicles they're making. And out of those 1,000, there's probably 50 people, maybe 75 people who are content creators on YouTube. Exactly. I'm gonna write it off. But maybe there's 50, 75 people who will create content around it on YouTube. So I think there's some ways to make that money back. And then if I buy it and it's a terrible decision, I'll just sell it. And I already had someone reach out to me and ask me if I would be willing to sell my Roadster. So yeah, so I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah, exactly, 1,000 units for the Founders Series Roadster. So, dude, that would be insane if I did Uber in a Roadster. I know there's some people on YouTube that have done that with other supercars, but this would obviously be something completely different. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be more than I would prefer to pay. This is coming from the guy who's still driving a 2013 Model S with 230 miles of range on it. Still rocking the OG nose cone. So, what was that question there? Oops. What's the down payment? Actually, I asked Tesla about this. They said that there would be no down payment to reserve it, or no deposit. And I also asked them when they thought it would go into production, and they didn't give me any details. I got that response today. So that's the Roadster. In fact, I just checked my Tesla account, to see if they had added it yet, and they haven't. So all I've got in there are my Model S and then my Cybertruck reservation. Yeah, autopilot's. I'm extremely excited. Let's just transition into the FSD Beta. I'm seeing these videos and I'm just slack-jawed. I'm really excited about. It's just very promising. And I posted this on Twitter when they first did their initial release of beta testers. I've been a skeptic of autopilot and full self-driving for a while, simply because of the promises that Elon has made, and he's yet to deliver on them. And he's been making these promises about, full autonomy in Teslas since, what, 2014, I think, is when they did their announcement about that. So yeah, but this rewrite is remarkable. It's a remarkable upstep from everything that they've done previously. Some of the computations, the way that the software is recognizing things on the road is, and that really is the first step, is for the car to recognize all of these things. So what I'm going to be looking for is it improving? Is it getting better on a consistent basis, or is it staying the same? But based on what I've seen so far, it looks really, really promising. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah, but FSD Beta is super cool. I have not driven it yet. Obviously, if I had a newer car, a newer Tesla, I would be one of those beta testers, because what they did was they rolled it out to club presidents, as well as a few key friends of the company. Yeah. If I had a newer car, I would be testing it. They didn't want people in snow testing it, but the thing is with Denver is, only club presidents in North America. They're sort of geofencing it to North America. Is anyone in Canada? Is anyone in Canada using it? I don't think so. It's only U.S., right? Some influencers, but that's what I meant when I said friends of the company. There are some friends of the company that are friends. That's all I'm going to say about that. So that kind of makes me wish I had a newer car. Yeah, part of their marketing tactics, for sure. This is they're masters. They're masters at leveraging attention. They're really, really good at this, and they're some of the best that I've seen at leveraging PR. A little bit of a side note, but it does make me a bit sad that they're not as responsive to journalists, even correcting things that are not right. Yeah, the Starship thing was cool. It was super cool to see. I hope that they can stick that landing the next time they do a test. They will. You know, I remember back in whenever it was that they were doing the hopper test for their rockets, for the rockets that they're using currently, and you know they failed a lot, and then eventually they figured it out, and now it's just commonplace to see these rockets launch up into space and then return to Earth, you know, on autonomous ships or land. Yeah. So what else we got? Let's go. General. Did you guys see this? Let's see if I can unplug this. It's probably gonna show up reversed, but this is the Hummer EV. GM released a video, and you can see one of the screenshots from their video is a license plate that says OMG Real. So they're basically trolling skeptics like myself who don't think that they can get that out by the end of the year, next year, 2021. I hope they do. I really hope they do, but I think that they're a ways off. Again, I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think maybe they're rushing things a little bit, and that's a massive battery pack too. I don't know if you've seen the battery pack, the Ultium battery pack, but it's a double stack. That thing is thick. Yeah, so Hummer EV, they published a video. I think I can pull it from their media site, and yeah, thick. And I might do a follow-up video. Listen, I am all for putting more electric vehicles on the road. It's 2020 as I'm recording this video. It's time to put these traditional automakers to the fire and give them some tough love. They've been talking about EVs and saying that it's coming, they're coming, and here we are in 2020, and Tesla's selling 500,000 vehicles this year, or pretty darn close to it. And you got GM just getting their EV program off the ground, and yeah, you could consider the Chevy Bolt their first true EV, but it really hasn't sold well. It's not that great looking in my personal opinion. And it's right up there with the Nissan Leaf. It's just okay. It is for that ultra conservative person who wants an affordable EV, and they don't care what it looks like, and they don't care what it feels like, and they don't care about the user experience inside of the car. Rivian, good question. I'll diverge a little bit. Rivian's hard at work making sure that they're meeting their production timelines. So they're going to start their truck mid-year next year. There's a little part of me that thinks that they're sandbagging a little bit, and they'll start earlier than summertime. I think July is when they're saying that their truck will start, and then their SUV will be in August. But we did just hear some news yesterday that Rivian will be producing their own chargers in remote areas where they're targeting, they're targeting, hey Lauren, my girl. So I haven't read the article, but I think it was, who was it? Was it TechCrunch that wrote an article about it? I'd have to look it up. In fact, I will. I had someone send me a text. Ha! What do you think about Nikola? Ha ha! Very funny. Lauren was one of the ones that was with us when we went there in August to Nikola. So is it TechCrunch? Yeah, TechCrunch. So let's see here. I'll pull up this article. Says Rivian is building its own EV charging network, but with an adventurous twist. So this is where they're, and I'm just slightly grieved that TechCrunch is the one breaking this information. What up, Raj? What about a large company like Apple entering the game? You know, they've been talking, there's been rumors about Apple getting into the EV game for years. The one thing that they do have going for them is Apple CarPlay. So they've got a software piece, but as you know, making a vehicle is really hard. Yeah, we got some familiar faces here. What's up, Alex? Zoltan. Yeah, Nikola. Oh, man. Did you see that they posted some photos on their Twitter of construction? And it was a real tight shot, 2 photos, real tight shot, no drone, no nothing. It's, yeah. They got a lot of work to do to prove they're a legit company. That's for sure. So high speed, let's see. Adding high-speed DC chargers will be capable of up to 140 miles in 20 minutes. So Rivian's thinking about how to address where their ideal customer is going to go. And I kind of had I knew that was coming. In fact, when I was on the Tesla Owners Online podcast, when was it? Last week? I did mention that. No, I didn't buy a bottle of Tesla tequila. It's just too expensive for I'm not a big tequila. I like tequila, but I don't like tequila that much. I'm happy with my Casamigos, the George Clooney tequila. That tastes really good. And I'm sure that some of my friends, if I'm kicking it at their house, I'm sure they'd be willing to share it with me. So for now, it's Larceny. Just tapped out the bottle tonight. So I gotta head to the liquor store at some point soon. Yeah, so Hummer EV. They're trolling, right? They're trolling the haters and the skeptics. Oh, I forgot to turn on my nighttime mode. Hopefully I don't get a phone call. It's 8 o'clock, so I think it should be okay. Or it'll disrupt the live stream. But I hope that they knock this thing out of the park. I don't think it's going to be very high volume, this truck. And it's just really interesting that they started off with such a beefy truck. It's gonna be a really heavy vehicle. It's got a double stack pack, like a over 200 kilowatt hour battery pack. And that thing is going to be heavy. It's gonna be really, really heavy. Nikola's posting pictures of new hires. Man, I'll tell you, like, I know there's a lot of hate and a lot of skepticism and a lot of vitriol for the company. I met some of the employees and they were very, very nice. I do hope that they're doing some legitimate things, and the best way to prove everyone wrong is just to execute, get the vehicles to production. It's the same thing with Tesla. Like early on, there were so many haters and so many people who said that they couldn't make it and they were gonna die, they weren't gonna survive. And here we are, 500,000 cars annually produced later. Tesla's proving people wrong, and they're the market leader in electric vehicles globally in terms of volume. So if Nikola wants to prove people wrong, they got to execute. They got to. I'm glad that Trevor's out. He was just way too optimistic and ambitious with his promises, and I think that was a large part of the negative sentiment for the company. You know, this guy that they got in there now, the CEO, he's much more straight-laced. So can they do it? Are they a legitimate company? Yeah, Trevor Hype Man Milton. That's, you know what? Just execute. This is what I love about RJ Scaringe. They haven't produced their vehicle yet, but here they are behind the scenes, crushing it, chipping away, getting ready to produce their vehicle. They've got their manufacturing facility in Illinois, and they're getting everything together. They don't talk a lot. They tell their story, which is really cool. They publish some really cool sort of documentary-esque style videos, and I really like that a lot. I know the people there. I know two handfuls of people there, and I just love how they just put the nose to the grindstone and focus on doing what's right for the company and doing what's right for their customers. I think they're legit. They've got the cash and the funding. They've got the backing. I don't think there's going to be any problems with them making it and competing. Are they going to be able to produce an electric vehicle that's competitive with Tesla and some of these larger automakers? Time will tell. Recent thoughts on Arcimoto. They're a great company. I love Mark. Mark's a super nice guy. Occasionally we'll text back and forth. They're going to be hyper niche. They're going to be a hyper niche, and they're not going to be mainstream. So it's not going to be as mainstream as some of these other companies that we've talked about on this live stream. But I like what they're doing. I think they're going to address a very valuable piece of the market. This last mile delivery and emergency services, I think that's going to be where their bread and butter's at. So I think they came out with like a Roadster, right? Yeah, Arcimoto's doing some YouTube advertising. I've seen their stuff as well. You know, with food delivery and last mile stuff, I think that it's a legitimate solution. I really think it's a legitimate solution. Now, in terms of units sold, we'll see. They're going to need to carve out a new market, I think. Think about emergency services. Last mile, I think, makes tons of sense. Like what if Domino's goes in and buys 10,000 of these things and allows their franchise owners to lease or buy out these last mile deliveries and autonomously take these pizzas to these places in their radius. Delivery radius. I think that would be super cool. You don't need a massive car for that, and especially if it drives itself. But even if you have someone that's driving it, I think it's the perfect solution for that. So I look forward to Arcimoto. I don't own any of their stock. I'm more focused on some of the companies that I'm following a lot closer. I'm super dialed into raw materials. Of EVs, I think. Hey, Alex, I think there could be some huge upside there to focus on. QuantumScape. I don't know anything about them, but I have seen a few of my buddies talk about them. So I'd love to. I think they're the solid state company, right? I'll just add some commentary on top of that. That I've already had with some people in the battery industry. Most people say, hold on, I'll finish that thought here. This is a Piedmont one. What do you own other than Piedmont? For that, that's the only raw material stock I own at the moment. I had some Lithium Americas that I bought and sold. But I'm probably about to get in with some of these other companies, especially after talking with Jordan from Limiting Factor. But I've got my eye on that. Yeah, Alex, you missed the beginning of the live stream. I should probably make some plans to buy this Roadster. It's a lot of money. It's more money than I would probably spend on a car. The whole point of me getting a Tesla was not to have the latest and greatest, but was to drive EV. And I'd rather put my cash into other things. That being said, the Roadster, I might make an exception. Yeah, I know, right? My 2021 real estate goals, I need to up a little bit to make room financially for the Roadster. But $120,000, $125,000 discount on the Roadster, I think that would be super cool. I can find I can find some things to use it for sure. So even if it's just using it for real estate driving, I can business expense that and deduct it, but YouTube as well. And then if I'm really feeling the pinch and it's just like it's just too much, it's requiring too much of my mental attention financially, then just sell it. I don't think there's going to be any problems flipping it. I think I can make a profit on it, especially at a 50% discount. So back to raw materials. I think it's a good idea for those that are following electric vehicles to try and consume as much information around that as possible and understand and understand what the capacity is, what the expected demand is for electric vehicles, and how I think, based on my conversations with people who are much smarter than me and follow the industry a lot closer than I do, if electric vehicles sort of take off like what people are expecting, there's going to be a strain on raw materials supply. This just makes tons of sense to me, not only for automakers that have big ambitions like Tesla and VW for producing a lot of electric vehicles, but this also makes sense from a national security perspective as well here in the US and North America. As we have this transition to electric vehicles, there'll be less of a demand for oil, and we're all familiar with the global challenges that is created around oil and the wars tied to oil. So I think it's a national security, could be a national security issue, and the United States has a really great opportunity to sort of get ahead of this and remove red tape for companies looking to mine raw materials from the ground here in the US, like what Piedmont's doing, and like other companies like Lithium Americas. I think there's some opportunity there to get ahead of that game. Anyways, my whole point in mentioning this is I'm really fascinated by this potential shortage of raw materials, or this potential strain of raw materials. And I think there's going to be, so if there's a lot of demand for electric vehicles, I think that what you'll start to see is a lot of well-to-do companies, automakers, and battery producers will start to invest billions into accelerating the extraction of raw materials from the earth. But it takes time, to do feasibility studies and to get approval to be able to mine raw materials. So I think that there's a lot of moving parts there that don't just happen overnight. And it's not as if you can just produce a car and snap your fingers and you've got the raw materials to be able to put into batteries. So I've been giving a lot of thought to that. And it seems like the more people that I talk to in the industry, the more important it is to make sure that there's enough supply to be able to produce electric vehicles. So I think I covered all my topics, right? Covered the Roadster, FSD Beta. Oh, the recycling. I think that will be hey Jennifer, I think that will be an important part. The Audi e-tron GT. This is an exciting vehicle. I wanted to pull up some of the specs. So for this Audi e-tron GT, it's supposed to come with 637 horsepower, which for an electric vehicle is good, but it's not amazing. I mean, EVs at this point, if you're gonna produce a fast electric vehicle, you need to be, I'm gonna get to that in just a second, the range. You need to be like 800-900 1,000 horsepower or above So 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, 612 pound-feet of torque, 800 volt DC fast charging. Does it say the range? I'm reading, this is an article from November 5th, 2020, so that's recent. I don't know if they're talking about range. Let me see. Let me just do a search for range. Yeah, I don't think that they're talking about range. It's going to be a coupe. It's going to be a two-door. Show you the picture. So and it's being built off of the Porsche platform. So hopefully it's competitive. Yeah, how often do you drive more than 300 miles? You know, I just think that if you're going to go from a gas Audi to an EV, that should be comparable. And today's gas vehicles are going, you know, between 400 and 600 miles of range. Okay, so they're saying 249 miles for the e-tron GT. I just think that it should be, do I ever drive 300 miles showing houses? It depends on where it's at. If I'm driving into the mountains, then I can easily do that. If I'm driving down to Colorado Springs, which is, you know, about an hour's drive one way, yeah, I can get to that point where if I go there and then come back, I'm getting pretty close to low range. So I typically try and stop somewhere on my way back into Denver to charge. But what I would love to see with electric vehicles is range between 500 and 600 miles. You know, you've got inefficiencies at higher speeds. Electric vehicles are just inefficient, not as efficient at higher speeds like gasoline vehicles are. So if you're doing highway driving, you're going to deplete the battery faster in comparison to city driving or lower speeds. So I don't know if, you know, I'm not going to spring for the SpaceX package on the Roadster if it's an available option. I'll probably just, I don't know what their options will be, but I'll probably just get the basic Founder Series Roadster. Get it Impala. It says the account 1963 Chevy Impala. Yeah. But my plan is, and this has just happened this week because I decided to sort of work towards getting the Roadster. I have my 2013 Model S. Yeah, the cold weather as well with EVs definitely reduces the range. So I have my 2013 Model S, and I should be paid off with it. I don't know, in the next couple of months. Depends on where I want to put my money, but I should be paid off with it before they start producing the Roadster. My bet is, my hope is that I'll be paid off with the Model S, which then frees up cash to be able to roll that into a Roadster, and then get the Roadster, have my Model S as well. So what I think I'll probably do is have the Model S for personal driving, and then the Roadster for business driving. That way I can deduct the depreciation of the Roadster. And I guess there's no EV tax credit as of right now, but no, I wouldn't let my kids drive the Roadster. I mean, I've got young kids right now, but even right, what an upgrade from 2013 S to a Roadster. Yeah, I mean, like the range piece alone certainly addresses a need that I have. You know, if I'm charging to 90% in my S, it's about 203 miles of range right now. So to go from that to a 600-mile vehicle, you know, just like I could drive around the perimeter of Colorado and probably be fine with a single charge. I don't know, maybe that's an exaggeration. I don't know what the perimeter of Colorado is miles wise, but Yeah, I don't think there's enough information known about how it's going to be taxed. If it's a discount, my understanding is that you're not going to be taxed in the full price, just the price that you pay post discount. So we'll see. You know, driving a Roadster as a real estate agent, it's a little bit out of my comfort zone. You know, the Model S in itself is a pretty nice car, and for people who don't know Tesla, and you know they don't know that it's an old car. It's almost 10 years old. It'll be 10 years old in 2023. People just see it as a fancy car. But the Roadster is on a whole nother level. It's like rolling up to a showing in a Roadster, unless it's a luxury listing, it's kind of like, I don't know, you know, like I certainly wouldn't drive the Roadster if I had, I don't know, a $200,000 or $300,000 listing. You know, like you gotta know the you got to know the you got to know the audience. You got to know who your audience is, and rolling up with a $250,000 car, trying to convince this person who owns a $300,000 house to work with me. Sometimes it doesn't have the best optics, right? It's like, I'm going to pay you tens of thousands of dollars to list this house, just so you can drive this fancy car. So, it depends on who your audience is. Obviously, so I've got a potential listing in Boulder coming up that's around $2 million. So rolling up, and this guy owns an electric vehicle. So rolling up in a Roadster to this guy's $2 million house, who's a fan of electric vehicles, man, I think that would lock down the deal, right? I think that would totally lock down the deal. This guy would be asking for a ride. He'd be like, okay, dude, bro, can I, if I give you this listing, can I get a ride in your Roadster? That would be how it would go, right? If I had the Roadster this weekend, I'm meeting with him. I'm meeting with him this weekend to see about listing his house. So yeah, right. Like if I rolled up in the Roadster, that would be a selling point for some people. I've got some friends that I've been talking with. I don't think I'll end up getting their listing, but they're a 2 Tesla household family. And they know me well, and I know them well. I helped them put an offer on a house about a week ago. But I was really hoping to help them list their house. And anyway, so if I didn't know them, and they were just a 2 Tesla family, they got referred to me, and I roll up in a Roadster, I think that would lock down that deal for sure. So Roadster, it's a little bit beyond my comfort level. I'm not a showy guy. I'm a pretty conservative guy. That doesn't mean that I don't have an ego and confidence, but I just don't like to show off what I've worked really hard for. So I'm mostly modest about the things that I have and own and how I spend my money. Can I answer any questions? Could be about EVs, could be about myself, my personal life. That's the goal, Raj. I've said this on Twitter before, and this really resonates with me, and I remind myself of this. I just sort of came up with it one day. It's be confident enough to shoot your shot, but be humble enough to admit when you've missed that shot. And I think that's how we should all live, right? Like, you don't want to be so like head down that you don't take the opportunity and take a risk to do something that you wouldn't normally do, or to take a risk and do something that you really want to do, but you're afraid of failing. But know that if you do fail, or you miss that shot and you totally airball it, that you got to own up to it, right? Like you have to own up to your missed shots as well as your game winners. So favorite non-Tesla EV, that's a really great question. I really love the Taycan. It's a beautiful looking car. And before you say it's only got a 201 mile range, they're sandbagging that range. And this car, I did the research, I did a video about this. This car does better at highway speeds than Teslas. So if you're taking the Taycan on the highway and you're driving it on a road trip, long distance, it's going to outperform the equivalent Model S consistently. So I like the Taycan. Now the price of it, that's a different story. Piedmont is trading sideways. I don't know. I don't know if I have any influence on that. I don't know who else is talking about Piedmont, but based on what I've seen, I'm really optimistic. They break ground next year. They did their deal with Tesla. I don't think there's going to be any problem with automakers wanting to work with them. So they start selling their spodumene hard rock, and I think they're going to get some nice movement there. So this is my personal opinion. Take it for whatever it's worth, especially knowing that Piedmont sponsors this channel. I think that the stock is underpriced at the moment. I'm due. Sorry, let me respond to this text here. Yeah, so I'm due a couple of Piedmont videos. I gotta publish those because I went and I published them. Any shows you're watching right now? Raj, I feel so bad about this sometimes. I don't watch a lot of television or entertainment. In fact, earlier this year, I was pretty consistent at watching some YouTube videos of some other content creators like yours and just other sort of leisure and lifestyle stuff. But these days, if I don't have my kids, I'm usually working on real estate or YouTube stuff, or just trying to have a personal life. That is something that I should absolutely try and make time for, and I don't always do that. Because if my kids, I'm usually helping them, helping them and trying to be a good dad. And then when I don't have them, I'm trying to fit in all the stuff that I can't get in when I have two young kids. So I struggle with that a lot, making time for myself. This year in 2020, I've done a really good job. I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in, and it's to the credit of the pandemic. When everything was locked down and everything was shut down, I wasn't doing any showings. Like real estate was not happening in Colorado in March and April, in May, aside from the transactions that I already had. And so I just started like doing push-ups and sit-ups, and now that's sort of evolved into free weights and running, and so I'm in the best shape I've ever been in, and I'm really thankful for that such a sad moment like the pandemic has spurred on this quest, this journey, this health journey. I've always been a very healthy person. I've always ran, but my strength is better than it's ever been, which is a lot of fun. So my leisure usually involves hiking or hanging out with friends. So yeah, usually involves hiking, trying to get out into the nature, which is so easy to do here in Colorado. So yeah, I love hiking. Colorado's a great place to do it. I took my kids out this afternoon after my daughter was done with school. We just went to a nearby park and explored and breathed some fresh air. We didn't go into the mountains. But all right, we're at 44 minutes. Maybe we should wrap up here soon. Any other questions? Sorry if I missed some. Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. Hypermile the Roadster. Oof. Could you imagine? So if you like double the range of the Roadster, so 1,200 miles, that would take days. You'd need. I think you might need more than 2 people to do it. How else am I environmentally friendly? Sorry, I'm going to get to some of these questions here. Thank you for them. I recycle. it's hard. It's this fine balance between. I just want to hold the comment here, so I've got my hand here. It's a fine balance between like balancing efficiency with my time, because here's a good example. For the last couple of months, like the leaves dropped here in Colorado, they've been in my yard, front and back, and I know that I've needed to get to them. And it would be really simple to just go out and rake them, right? But the schedule is really tight, and so what I ended up doing was hiring someone on TaskRabbit to come and drive his Toyota Tundra with a trailer on it to come and rake up the leaves for me and take away the leaves. So that's probably not the most environmentally friendly and sustainable. And so it's this wrestle between time efficiency and time management and being environmentally sustainable. I really do struggle with that. So I try and eat. I try not to eat beef at all. I eat a lot of fish and chicken. So that's another way. Recycle. Yeah. So those are some thoughts there. Thoughts on Arval? I don't know ARVL. Favorite Tesla? The Roadster, I guess. Yeah, Brent, I might consider selling the Roadster after a little while. I think I'm going to take delivery of it, drive it around for a while, create some content around it. Comment on the range, Plaid S versus the Taycan. I did a video on this. Like Teslas do not do well at highway speeds. Taycans crush it at highway speeds, so it's just like reversed. Taycans don't do well at below 45 miles an hour, but Teslas crush it. Thanks, Raj, for the encouragement. I really appreciate it. It's been fun to get to know you. Arrival. I don't know anything about them. Do you think Elon will stay beyond 2030? Stay at Tesla? I don't know. I mean, gosh, that's 10 years away. Plaid Model S versus the Bugatti. It'd be cool if someone did a drag race. Has anyone done that? I don't know. It'd be interesting. I'm a big fan of electric. I appreciate supercars, gas supercars. They're just beautiful, beautifully designed, and usually have really, really fine materials in them, which I really appreciate. I'm still a fan of just a really deep engine sound. Favorite Tesla accessory? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't have a lot of Tesla accessories. Plaid S or a Roadster? The Roadster, dude. That's an obvious question. Come on, Michael. The Roadster over the Plaid S, of course. Stock price of Tesla? Man, I think that there's some, it hasn't even hit the ceiling. Okay, we got a super chat here. Other than Piedmont Lithium, which I bought, what would you buy? Yeah, right, not a financial advisor. So the interview that I did with Jordan from The Limiting Factor a few days ago, he mentioned a couple of, do I have them up here? Yeah. He mentioned a couple of companies that I'd like to do some research into. The first one is Talga, Swedish company. Sorry about the ring light. Talga. So I want to look into them. That seems promising. Talon Metals, they're out of Minnesota. I haven't researched them, so I'm just kind of spitballing here based off of my combo. Dude, by the way, Jordan is a brainiac. The fact that what he's talking about is not his background at all is mind-blowing to me. I'm like listening to him talk and him say that this is just something that he does in his spare time. It's nuts. Do I have another one here? Yeah, so those are the two that I wanted to look into. I know he mentioned another one from Europe. So raw materials definitely have my Yeah, Ryan, go ahead. Raw materials definitely have my attention for the reason that I suspect that the demand will outstrip the supply. So what happens? What happens when demand outstrips supply? Price of the raw materials goes up. This is why I think that what Tesla's doing here, with securing all of these agreements with these battery suppliers and raw material suppliers, is, I mean, they're looking into the future here and planning for the worst case scenario. So I really do hope automakers are working their way into figuring out how to solve that. Yeah, look into nickel for sure. Yep, nickel will be important, especially for some of these high range chemistries. So, you know, I've given some thought to what would happen if Tesla acquires some of these raw materials companies to really secure the land rights to raw materials. This is something that I don't know. I don't know if that's an interest on Tesla's end, but I'm definitely trying to sort of predict what Tesla's next steps will be. You know, so they've sort of inched their way into the early part of the supply chain. Are they going to go so far as to start acquiring land? Yeah, these are some good comments here coming in. So if you're watching this post recording here, make sure and check the chat box, because I think you all are bringing up some really interesting points, especially around raw materials companies. I think the important thing here is just to look into the companies. If it makes sense and they've got a strong business plan, you know, why not consider getting early in? All investing is a risk. Yeah, Tesla acquiring legacy automakers. It wasn't really clear whether traditional auto would merge with Tesla, or Tesla would acquire them. I don't know. I mean, at this point, I don't think Tesla really needs to do that. So Tesla should acquire Rivian. I think Rivian's past that point in terms of valuation where Tesla would have an interest in them. Rivian's got their own cool thing going, so I think it's more likely that Amazon will buy Rivian. I think there's a few people in the community that believe that. So I think, mark this, at 53 minutes, I think Amazon will buy Rivian. It's a no-brainer, really. Should Tesla acquire Panasonic Energy Division? I don't know. Panasonic really seems to be very, very conservative and traditional with their decision making. Far too slow to make decisions than what Tesla needs. I mean, Tesla's bringing the technology to the table. Panasonic's just the producer of it. So Tesla's already working their way towards producing batteries. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. I think Tesla could go out on their own and start to become their own cell producer and probably have better success. So would you let your Tesla be a robo-taxi? At this point, I don't need to. Financially, I just don't need to do that. And I just, I'm pretty particular about my cars. On an Elon interview, I haven't gone down that road. It would be interesting. I would have some really good questions for him, some things that I've never heard anyone ask. And I'm not gonna say them now. I'm gonna give it away. I've never reached out. I'm sure that if I worked hard enough, I probably could secure an interview with Elon. I think it would be interesting. I don't know. Now that you mention, I'm kind of like the idea. Battery talk, yeah. An interview about battery talk. You know, I'd really love to get to know him on a more personal level. To see how his sort of business mind deconstructs life, parenting, love, money, personal finance, problem solving. I'd love to know how he handles conflict at Tesla or at his companies. Coaching. Does he coach? For sure, yeah. I mean, I would be sad if it wasn't at least an hour long if I got an interview with Elon. All right, 5 more minutes and then I'm going to wrap up. 4.5 minutes. Have I missed some questions here that I haven't answered? Thank you, by the way, for everyone who's on at this time of day or evening. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It's a wild, wild world, man. The fact that anyone wants to listen to what I have to say is just mind-blowing to me. This is crazy. I hope that if I see any of you anywhere, at a supercharger, at an event, please come and say hello. I've already been on some trips. I'll be in Austin for the holidays, which is where I'm from. So I'm taking the kids to see my family. I've rented a Model Y on Turo. Not sponsored by Turo, but if you want to, Turo, hit me up. Renting a Model Y. So we'll be in Austin for the holidays, chilling with family. Thanks, Jennifer. Really appreciate it. Will you check out the factory site? That's actually a really great idea. I hadn't thought about it until you mentioned it. So yes. That's a yes. I love that you're contributing here to some great ideas. Yes, absolutely. Maybe I need to buy a drone, right? I should buy a drone and get some drone footage of it. I could use drone footage here in Colorado too. It would be epic. Love it. Thank you. Thank you for the really great idea. Couple more minutes. Come to Oklahoma. Let you drive the original Roadster. Sick. That's great. Thank you. The Austin site. Yeah, the Texas Gigafactory. I'm spending the holidays in Austin with my family. Taking the kids. I did the drive to Austin earlier this year for the Fully Charged Live event. I hit 2 deer. They didn't fare too well, nor did my car. So I'd like to try and avoid the plus young kids in a road trip like that. That's not a good idea. That's a recipe for a disaster. If any of you had young kids, you know what I'm talking about. Couple more minutes. Maybe I'll just sort of riff on 2020. 2020 has been quite the year. Very thankful. Had the best year ever, real estate wise. Had some transitions in life as well, unexpected transitions. But I think that I'm better and stronger this year than I've ever been. More persistence, more perseverance, more gratitude. Just like anytime something bad happens, I try and focus on all the good things I have in my life. So I'm really thankful, and finishing 2020 out, I've got a lot to be thankful for. So I hope you all do as well. You spend some time the rest of this year just thinking about all the positive things. Really have a lot of appreciation for my real estate business, for this YouTube channel, for the outlet. Great to catch up with everyone. Yeah, the S got repaired. It's looking hot too. It was looking kind of rough. 200,000 miles on that. There's the rock chips and pits. Which CEO inspires me? Hey, Kristen. Hi, good to see you. I would consider Kristen one of my closest friends. Good to see you. Hope everyone go check out her YouTube channel. I think she's at least got one video up. So yeah, super thankful. Thank you for everything. I really appreciate you all. Really grateful. So I'm going to sign off. We're at now an hour of conversation here. Thanks for your attention and your time. Happy holidays. Have a wonderful rest of 2020 and a kick-ass beginning of 2021. So love you all. Talk to you soon.